Hey guys, Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. Today I'm bringing you episode number 12 featuring the beautiful 1996 Skybox E-X2000 Net Assets card number 8. It's a beautiful Jordan insert. As always, if you missed any of the first 11 episodes, go back and check them out. They'll be there forever if you ever need them. But without wasting any more time, let's get cranking and start looking at our net assets. So the first thing I always like to do is share with you guys whether I do own the card or not and what grades of the card I own. I do own the card. I actually had 3 of these, 3 net assets in my collection about 3 weeks ago, but I have since sold one and am in the process of selling another. I sold the first one in the PWCC weekly auction number 1. I think it was a PSA 9. I've got a PSA 8 listed in this coming PWCC weekly auction, and then on your screen over here you can see this is my current copy of the PSA 10 version. So this is my card. I am always going to let you guys know that I'm biased. Sometimes I'm going to do an Explore the Card episode featuring my card, and sometimes I'm not going to own the card, but I just want to know more about it or educate and entertain the hobby about it. And so if I speak glowingly of this card, it is not because I own it. I just happen to own it also, but I always like to disclose that at the beginning of every video, so I'm very clear. So anyway, this card that comes from the set, the 1996 Skybox EX2000. I've got that pulled up. Trading Card Database, for those of you who don't know, is a great resource and a great source of information regarding all of the basketball card sets that are out there, going way back as far as you can imagine. So I've pulled up the 96, 97 EX2000 set. It is an 82 card base set. Cards number 81 and 82 are checklists, so there's 80 players in the checklist. In 1996, no surprise, the big rookies are Kobe and Ray Allen, Marbury, Iverson, Abdul-Rahim. Nash is not in this set, okay? So Steve Nash cards are not in this set, but Kobe, Ray, Marbury, Iverson, and Abdul-Rahim are. Obviously 96 is one of the greatest rookie classes of all time, so that makes this set, and really any set in this particular year, super popular. Jordan is card number 9 in the checklist. If you're going to click on the checklist, the Trading Card Database shows you every single card that's in here. You'll see card number 9 is Michael Jordan. Here's what his base card looks like, and am I crazy? This looks like one of the greatest looking base cards in the world. I do own this card. I don't think I own it in a 10, but I need to. It is just an absolutely beautiful base card with, the kind of the inset window frame there with the sky in the background. Just really cool. But anyway, that's what the Jordan base card looks like. The last PSA 10 base card that we just looked at, this card right here in a PSA 10, last sold for $3,240 at a Robert Edwards auction in June of last year. This is a high-end set. $3,240 for a Jordan base card is not normal, and so that just gives you an idea of how highly coveted the 96 EX2000, even the base cards are. But getting back to it, let's take a look at some of the insert sets that are in this that come from EX2000. There's only 3 insert sets, and then there's 1 parallel set. Obviously you guys, I shouldn't say you are. If you're not, you should get familiar with the credentials. That is an extremely popular, highly coveted, super rare insert set from the 96 EX2000. I say insert set. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Parallel set. Numerically serial numbered. The insert sets that you're looking at are a cut above, net assets, and star date 2000. All 3 of those insert sets are incredibly relevant. You guys will recognize the cut above. Clearly this is going to be a featured card at some point on Explore the Card, maybe next week. I don't know, I haven't thought about it. I never know from one week to another what the next card will be. But if you've never seen the Jordan cut above, obviously you're missing out. It is an absolutely beautiful card, extremely highly coveted, extremely condition sensitive, and extremely valuable. It is more valuable than the net assets that we're talking about today. And then the star date 2000, a lot of you guys may be familiar with this. because it features rookies. And the Kobe Bryant Star Date 2000 is a really big card that had an amazing, insane, almost illogical run-up during the peak earlier this year. But that's what this card looks like, as you can see. But we're here today to talk about the net assets, and so we'll pull up the net assets here, and then obviously you can see this is a 20-player set, okay? It features Ray Allen, Barkley, Ewing, KG, Penny, Grant Hill, Iverson, Jordan, Kidd, Mailman, Zoe, Shaq, Gary Payton, David Robinson, Dennis Rodman, and Chris Webber. There's 20 cards in the insert set, and a whopping 14 of those cards are Hall of Famers, guys. That is that's impressive. 70% of the cards in this insert set are Hall of Famers. We always talk about the pack odds. The pack odds is what kind of drives Jordan pricing. It's not a perfect correlation between price and scarcity as far as pack odds, but it matters. These net asset cards were inserted one in every 20 packs. And again, remember, this is a high-end product, so people weren't out there buying, hundreds of E-X2000 packs in '96. But there are 20 cards in the set, so 20 times 20 is 400. The odds of pulling the Jordan net assets is 1 in 400 packs. Not crazy pack odds. There's crazier pack odds out there, obviously, but I don't think chasing it by buying packs is probably going to be the best way to go, especially if you're looking for a PSA 10. You're just going to have to go out there and hunt the card down. Let's talk about what the card looks like. Obviously, it's a gorgeous card. It's got your basketball in the background. You've got Jordan in his 23 jersey shooting a right-handed finger roll over his right shoulder. He's wearing the Jordan 12s, as far as I can tell. They're a little bit cut off, but I think he's wearing the 12s. The background's got, your giant net in the background with a ball. Ironically, I just noticed when I took a closer look, the ball has no seams on it, which seems really odd. And one thing you will see is you'll see this kind of discoloration. I'm trying to zoom as much as I can on your screen, but you see how it's a little bit discolored on the net. It's not a perfect white. You're going to see that from time to time on these cards, and you're looking at a PSA 10 copy of it. And so you're going to see that slight orangish discoloration. I don't know if you guys can see that on the screen or not, right under Jordan's right armpit. But there is some blending and some bleeding almost of the color from the orange basketball onto the white net fibers or net strings. But the words net assets are, intricately die cut at the top. So you can't really tell in a 2D picture, but if you had the card and you can move it around, you could tell. But net assets at the top is actually die cut. Really just a really cool card. That adds kind of to the condition sensitivity of the card. And we're going to get to the population in a little bit, because there aren't very many of these PSA 10s going around. The back of the card, we always like to read the narrative. So the back of the card is just a mirror image of the front of the card. But if you zoom in, we can read here, it says, His Airness, who has earned 8 league scoring titles already, he had one more to come, continues to impress opponents and fans alike. In Cleveland this year, MJ notched the first triple-double in All-Star Game history, tallying 14, 11, and 11. Clearly, he intended to get that triple-double, because usually in All-Star Games, Jordan just said, give me the damn ball, and went to work. So he was trying to get everybody involved in that one. Let's take a look at the card ladder data, right? That's what we're all here for. Now we've heard about the set. We've heard what the card looks like. Let's look at the actual data itself. Looking at the PSA 10, this is a Pop 38 card out of 285 ever graded. So that gives this PSA 10 copy here, a 13% gem rate. The last sale of this card, as you can see on the screen, is right here, 4,250, and that was in November of last year. So about 3 months ago, 2 months ago, something like that. The highest sale ever of this card was 5,800. 5 of this card sold in the last year. The average price was about $4,600. If we go down here, card ladder, we can pull up our data. There's our graph. You can see 5 of them sold. The average was $4,639. The card started at $4,306. It went up, it went a little bit down, and it came back almost at the exact same price over the year. So the PSA 10 copy, and this is something I want y'all to see, the PSA 10 copy rate of growth for the year was almost steady, right? So it was down 1.3%, but for all intents and purposes, the card basically held from the beginning, from exactly a year duration. If we scroll down and we look at the BGS 9.5, You can see that the last sold price was 2,000. The pop was almost identical to the PSA 10, pop 36. The total number of cards graded by BGS, however, was a little bit higher. 354 BGS is graded. So the gem rate on the BGS 9.5 is a little bit lower than the PSA 10. It's a 10% gem rate. Not that different, right? PSA 13, BGS 9.5, 10%. The last sold price, however, was half, less than half actually, $2,000 very recently, a few weeks ago, basically a month ago on December 30th, 2021. The highest this card has ever sold for is $3,605. So the highest sale of this 9.5 copy is lower than the last sold price and lower than the average sale price of the PSA 10. But this is what I want to show you guys. The BGS 9 has taken a hit, right? And again, I want to focus on this again. Remember, the PSA 10 held steady during the last calendar year with a minus 1%, basically held steady. The BGS 9.5 has dropped 44%. And so you can see this card, and look, a lot of this is going to be because of when the last one sold during the calendar year. This one sold in March, right, almost coinciding perfectly with the crazy nutso peak of the hobby. And so that's going to probably have a lot to do with this whopping minus 44%. Really, you guys got to pay attention to when that, basically when the comparison starts. When was the first card of the year sold? Because the rate of growth only goes from, the first card. So if it sold at the peak, obviously damn near everything you look at is going to go down in value. But you can see it came down a little bit more in April because the hobby had started that correction, and then the last two have been very consistent. 1994 and 2000, almost identical sales prices in November and December of last year, a month apart. So I think we can safely say this card is pretty steady at 2000. If I had to guess, comment below if you disagree, but if I had to guess, I think the next 9.5 copy of this card will sell for a little bit more than 2000. I think it'll probably be in the $2,200 to $2,500 range. That's what I'm seeing with the trend on Jordan cards that are less pop 50 in gem condition. And this one is definitely fits that mold. 5 copies of the BGS 9.5 have sold in the last year. I think we're seeing 4 data points on here because maybe 2 of them sold on the same day. If I had to guess, if we go to view all sales, we can obviously determine that. December 30th, November 25th. Yeah, so there you go. So 2 of them sold on November 25th. Both of them sold on eBay. Both of them were by auction. Wow, that's crazy. There's only 36 in the world, and 2 of them sold on the exact same day on the exact same platform for almost identical prices, $100 apart. That's pretty interesting. But that's why, for those of you who are new to Card Ladder, that's why you'll only see 4 data points, because whenever 2 cards sell on the same date, like they did here on November 25th, they will just take the average of the sales price. They will only show you 1 data point, despite the fact there were 2 cards that sold that day. Let's take a look at the PSA 9, right? So if we look at the PSA 9, it's pop 105, still not a crazy number. For those of you who collect ultra modern and modern, I know you guys are used to seeing tens of thousands in PSA 10. That doesn't exist in the 90s market. If you're new to the 90s market, 105 is what you're looking at for this Jordan PSA 9. Out of 285, so 37%. If you combine the PSA 10 and the PSA 9 gem percentage, the percentage likelihood of getting a 9 or a 10 is exactly 50%. If you combine the BGS 9 and the BGS 9.5, it's 49%. So if you've got a raw copy, and again, this may not hold because remember, a lot of these were graded when they were fresh out of packs, but if you've got a 9 copy, you're kind of generally looking at about a 50% gem rate, all things considered. Again, we have to remember, I think most of these gems were probably graded a very, very, very long time ago, and we're about to look at the population growth rate recently. So that might be a little bit misleading. I don't want you to go home and think, oh, if I buy 4 raws, half of them are going to be PSA 9s or 10s. I'm not telling you that. I'm just telling you what the data says now. Again, remember, the data shifts, so you've got to look at what PSA is doing to cards now, which is hammering them. For those of you who don't know, they have not been real free-flowing with PSA 10s on Jordan inserts from the 90s. I can assure you of that. And if you've watched any of these episodes, you'll notice that pop growth rate on the PSA 10s, the BGS 9.5s, even Beckett's doing the same thing. It's not growing very much. And we're about to look at that for this card card in particular. The one distinction between the PSA 9 and the BGS 9 in the gem copies is that many more have sold. So between PSA 9 and BGS 9, 24 copies have sold in the last 12 months. So you're looking about 2 of these being available in mint condition between the 2 big grading companies each month. So if you're looking to pick up a PSA 9 or a BGS 9 copy, it's not difficult. You can go get those copies, even though they're Pop 105 and Pop 138. You can go find them. That's not a lot. I mean, if you think about the entire world of collectors and how recognizable this card is, that's still not a lot, but they're there. They're in the open market and they are available, and you can go pick them up. The PSA 9 last sold for $1,300. The BGS 9, as you can see, last sold for $960. These cards, again, follow a similar trend as far as the rate of growth or rate of decrease. But again, you always have to look at the beginning price point. So you'll see the first one sold right in the middle of the peak of the hobby. Another one sold a little bit after the peak of the hobby. But then you can see it comes down here and it settles at about the 900 to 1200 mark. And so the card kind of fluctuates between 900 and 1200, probably depending on the subgrades. If we look at the chart for the PSA 9 guys, we'll go down here. Same thing. You're going to see a huge decrease in the rate of growth. Big red numbers. That's great. Again, January 30th and the peak. Really, that peak I would consider January 15th to March 15th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's when the hobby went ballistic and bananas and illogical. So anything you see in there is going to skew your rate of growth, obviously. But if we look at it, this card, again, has kind of settled as well. The PSA 9, I mean, if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like maybe 10 data points, you're always hovering, in the 1700 to 1300 range. So this card's steadily available in about that average price range, maybe more like 1500 for the PSA 9. Again, last one sold 1320, so a much more affordable card. Enough about that data. The stuff that sticks out is that the PSA 10 and the BGS 9.5 have almost exactly the same pop. Those of you who know me know I'm looking for a gem copy, whether it's BGS or PSA. I make no distinction. I do realize there is a price distinction, and the PSA 10 carries a premium, but I'm looking to put either in my PC for a long-term hold. I'm not looking to flip this card. So the PSA 10 that you see here in my vault, I've got what I need. I'm not going anywhere on this card. I probably won't acquire another card because there are other Jordan another copy because there's other Jordan cards out there I'm looking to put in my collection that I do not have. In fact, I just picked up a monster yesterday from a good friend of mine from Instagram that I am very, very excited about. I picked up the Ultra Stars PSA 10. Which is a Pop 19. Really beautiful card, a card that I've long coveted. Came available off of eBay through an Instagram group chat that I'm in, and a good friend of mine, we made a deal on that card in about 2 minutes. So fantastic pickup for me. I'm sure that Ultra Stars and the Ultra Stars Gold will at some point be a featured card in Explore the Card episode in the near future. Anyway, there are no BGS 10s. There are no BGS 10 black labels for the net assets insert. There are 74 combined gems between PSA and BGS. So there's that magic number, right? We want those Jordan inserts that have a combined gem pop rate between PSA and BGS of less than 100. This net assets fits that bill and meets that criteria. How often does the gem copy of the card sell on the open market? Between PSA and BGS, it sold 10 times in the last year. So if you're looking to get a gem mint copy in PSA or BGS, you're probably looking at a little bit less than one a month. That's why, again, it's so ironic that 2 sold on the same day. That just seems odd. Is it a buy, sell, or hold for me? From my perspective, it is a hold for me. I love this card. It's firmly in my PC. I'm not looking to buy another one. I'm not looking to sell this one. Like I said, I had 2 lower graded copies, 9 and 8, which I've sold one, and the other one's in the process of being sold. You guys, if you haven't yet, please go check out the PWCC weekly auctions. It's a great platform to buy and to sell. Some cards slip under the radar. Some of the bigger, higher profile cards do not slip under the radar, and you can attain great value if you're a seller with none of the hassle of dealing with eBay. So going back, let's talk about, we always like to talk about what's available on eBay, right? And so I should have pulled this up a long time ago. So what's available on eBay? Let's look up 1996 net assets, Michael Jordan, and let's see what comes up. Real easy here. None of my private information's on here. They don't put any private stuff. So you can see we've got a PSA 6. Let's see how many results. We got 12 results, okay? So we've got a PSA 6, we've got a PSA 7, we've got a PSA 6, we've got a PSA 9, which we know is overpriced because we just looked at the data. This is a $1,300 card that they've got for $9,999 or best offer. I don't know about you guys, but when I see that, I don't make offers because that's 4 times what the damn card's worth. It's just not worth making it. It's actually more than that. It's like 7 times what the card's worth. A BGS 8.5 copy for $925, which is not far off. If you're just looking to pick up a nice clean copy of this card, that's actually not a bad buy it now price. Probably a little bit over since the BGS 9 sells for about $950 or $1,000, but there's a reasonable option if you want to pay a little premium. You got another PSA 7 for $3,700, overpriced. There's a BGS 9 for double what it's worth with no subgrades. Here is a raw copy for $1,592 from Japan if you want to take a swing and a miss. A BGS 8 for $749, again not crazy priced. Another raw one for $799 or OBO. A PSA 7 for $1,750. And here's a PSA 10. Okay, so they got a PSA 10. This must have just come up because I didn't notice this. It says new listing. So there's a PSA 10 out there for $59.99. If we go back and we look at that PSA 10, Card Ladder puts it at $42.50. So this is a pretty decent opportunity if you're looking to jump into a PSA 10. You might be able to get this guy to work. It is coming from Thailand. You have to be a little bit trepidatious, but you'd probably want to, open it up, look at the rating. 47 rating, 100% feedback, but only 47 transactions. That scares the shit out of me. I'm probably going to pass. If I'm looking for a PSA 10, I would have to get really comfortable with that dude and that seller before I, send $4,500 to another country with a 47 rating. If it was somebody from another country that I deal with regularly or that I could get vouchers from off of eBay, I'd probably look at it, but I wouldn't be messing with a random 47 rating. People with 47 ratings usually don't have cards like this, in my experience. Another raw copy, and then another PSA 7 that's vastly, drastically crazy overpriced. And then, look, if you look down here, I don't know why I didn't pull this one, but here's another raw one that's on Probstein. This is a card that's kind of hard to tell the value of the card, but anyway, Probstein's got one down here too, so it looks like there's maybe 13 of them. Anyway, so we always ask the question, where does this card fit? In PSA, is it a low, is it a mid, is it a high, or is it a grail? The way I do it is grail means $20,000 or more. High end is $10,000 to $20,000. Mid is $5,000 to $10,000, and then low is anything lower than $5,000. The PSA 10, like we talked about, you can see $42.50 last sold. I would say the PSA 10 is fits into my low end category, but barely, and I'm not sure the next one doesn't sell for more than $5,000. One of you guys watching may go snag that one that's available from Thailand, best offer. If you do, comment and let me know so we can all keep an eye on it and see if the thing arrives. I hope it does. I hope everything goes great if you do decide to grab that one. So PSA 10 falls into the low end, BGS 9.5 and everything else obviously fall into the low end. If the PSA 10 is below 5,000, then so is everything else. What are some cards of similar value? We always kind of look through this, and so let me pull some of these up on Card Ladder. So other cards of similar value in PSA 10 condition are this Warp Speed Michael Jordan PSA 10 here. Okay, so if you're choosing how do I want to spend my $4,000, my $5,000, you're going to be looking at some of these other options. You're going to be looking at the Warp Speed Pop 47, so a little bit higher pop than the net assets, but still nonetheless, this guy is one of my favorite Jordan cards. He's got the Concords on, the red 23. You got the kind of the stars in the back. Stadium Club's a great product. The Warp Speed's a really cool card. It's also come down just like the net assets. And again, it's because the first of the year, the first card in the calculation for the rate of growth is from the peak. So at some point that'll fall off and we'll have a much better, card ladder representation of what the true value of the card is. The other card that, a couple other cards that you're going to compare it to is the 1988 Fleer Jordan base PSA 10. So we'll pull this one up as well. Here we go. That card last sold for $4,200. Now this is a pop 564. But what you have to remember is there's a lot of people out there that try to collect, on PSA set registry, they try to get all of the Jordan base cards or all of the Jordan Fleer cards in PSA 10 condition. This is a Jordan third year card in PSA 10 condition, which is pretty rare. The next card you're going to see is that's a comparable card to the net assets that we've been looking at today is the 1997 Metal Universe 23 base card in PSA 10 condition. This is another card I have. Every one of these cards that I've shown, I do have, and I'm going to tell you what order I would prioritize these cards if you asked me to pick between these two four. But this is the third comparison to the net assets in PSA 10. You can see it's a little bit more expensive. It's a pop 114, which is about 3 times the pop of the net assets. And again, just like all the others, this has been on a roller coaster. But it's really the only reason it's a roller coaster is the peak of the market. I can't wait till I can get a better graph where I don't even want to know what happened a year ago. I want to know what it's done in the last 6 months. There you go. So it's about steady, down 11%, and that's just totally random. It could, fluctuate up or down on the next one that sells. But anyway, those are the 4 cards. Comment below of those 4 cards that we just looked at, the Metal Universe, the Warp Speed, the 88 Fleer, and then the net assets. Which card would you guys rather have in PSA 10 condition, all things being equal? My order would be net assets 1, Warp Speed 2, Metal Universe 3, and 1988 Fleer 4. And my reasoning behind that is strictly population. I have all 4 cards. That's the order that I would prioritize them in my collection. That's just me. What order would you guys put them in? I want you to comment below and let me know which of those 4 cards you would want and in what order if you had to choose. On the Cajun Cardboard scale of relevance, guys, I always like to kind of let you guys know what I think where this card belongs. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I would put it as a 6. It's in the low end, but it's pushing that mid end. I think the aesthetics and the uniqueness of the card itself kind of bump it up maybe 1 on the scale of 1 to 10. So I've got it as a 6. It's a card you can go find in gym condition if you look hard enough and give it a couple months. It's a card you could definitely go find in mint condition because we've talked about it, and about 2 of them sell every month. And so I put it as a 6 out of 10 on the Cajun Cardboard scale of relevance. As always, I want to thank Card Ladder, Cardboard Connection, PSA's website, Beckett's website, Trading Card Database, PWCC, BasketballReference.com. Those are the sites that I kind of use to put these episodes together, and all of those websites are perfectly accessible to the public except for Card Ladder. You need to be a Card Ladder Pro member. If you're not a Card Ladder Pro member, you should be. Now that they've added the sales history feature, there is no reason to use any other data pricing. It is absolutely lightning fast. It's warp speed fast, if you get that pun. That's the data pricing tool of choice for me. I know a lot of people out there use 130 point market movers and this and that and all that. I've got a strict allegiance to Card Ladder. I know who runs it. I know who puts that data out. I trust those fellas and that gal, and they do a fantastic job. And they've always responded and answered any questions that I have about the site. So I'm a big proponent of Card Ladder. I am a Card Ladder Pro member as well. They don't pay me to pimp them. I'm just telling you, it's a fantastic product. I'm also a member of Market Movers, but it's gotten to the point recently where I don't find much use for Market Movers because Card Ladder has added this sales history feature where I just want to show you how fast this is. 2017 Prism Fox. Boom, you've just pulled up everything. It's unbelievably fast. If you want to switch it over to Tatum, watch how fast. Instead of waiting on 130 point, boom, there's all the Tatums in order. You want to sort it by the highest sold in order of value, fine, there you go. It's that quick, guys. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out and subscribe. Let me know which card you want me to feature in the next episode. Again, these episodes come out every Friday. I love to listen to you guys. I thank every single one of you that's subscribed and that has watched this far. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It should be in the bottom right of your screen as you're looking at YouTube. I think that's right. And then I really appreciate your likes. If you hit that like button, it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. I don't know what that means, but you guys might. And then the comments are always welcome. I don't think I've ever not responded to or read a comment. It does matter to me. I've gotten a million messages on Instagram from people saying, hey, thanks so much for doing the content. I really appreciate those messages. I can't tell you how much they mean to me, because it keeps me going when I have to sit down and put the data together and put the episode out, that there are other people out there that love what I love and care about what I care about, which is Jordan cards from the 90s. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. I'll try to keep it brief. I'm right under the 30-minute mark, which, as you guys know, is really impressive for me. That's about as good as it gets when you're talking to when you're listening to me on YouTube. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you don't mind, take my link to my YouTube channel, send it to your friends in a text message or an email, and say, hey, click on this and subscribe and listen. You might like what you hear. Have fun. Stay positive. Peace.